Every great accomplishment is created twice. First, it's created in the mind of a dreamer, and then only then, on the second manifestation, is it created on the physical plane. That's our topic for today. That's what we're going to explore, the role of dreaming in creating prosperity. And we're going to have a little side trip along the way. We're going to talk about cancel culture and Twitter mobs and social media feeding frenzies. And I also want to jump back to the work of Napoleon Hill, which we've referenced from time to time on the in these lessons. And so I want to go back and look at something that he calls cosmic habit stance. All right. So that's what the plan is for today. I'm sorry, cosmic habit force. Cosmic habit force from Napoleon Hill. So let me begin with a blessing, if you'll allow me. I send forth this seed offering of prosperity, knowing it blesses and multiplies all who are open to receive it. And so it is. Good morning from Miami. Good afternoon, good evening from you guys elsewhere around the globe. I'm not going to try that in French again. I don't know if you guys noticed, I did that opening in French last week, and somehow I switched from French to Spanish at the end. I started out in French, and then instead of Le Monde, I was talking about El Mundo. So that's what happens when you're studying a couple languages at the same time. So anyway, this is a thought experiment. It's a prosperity service I create every Saturday and broadcast at the moment, at least at 11 a.m. Eastern time. We moved it back an hour so Napa David could get his butt out of bed in California. I see you're on here. And some of you other West Coast peeps. And it's a thought experiment on just talking about the principles of prosperity, generosity, circulation, and free enterprise. So I see we got a good looking crowd in the place, so welcome. And just know this is done for you new people just joining for the first time or watching on the replay on Prosperity TV or listening on the replay on the Power Prosperity podcast. I do this on a love offering basis as opposed to charging $37 or $40 seminar, an online seminar. I say, I'm just going to get on every Saturday morning. I'm going to put it out there and people can give whatever they want at randygage.com/go. And my vision and the vision of many of the people in this community is to create a worldwide prosperity ministry where we're just growing the viewership every week and the listenership, and sharing these principles of prosperity, which the world really, really needs at this moment. I like to begin with the homework from the week before, and I usually ask for a volunteer or two. And the homework last week, we were talking about relationships and how they impact your prosperity. So I want to just catch up on some homework, and then we're going to get into this week's lesson. Instead of picking a volunteer from the room, we have Agnes Fitzgerald, who watches from the UK. She watches on replay every week, usually, I think, now that we're at the 11 a.m. time Eastern. So Agnes sent in her homework. She mailed it in, okay? She doesn't mess around. She's serious about it. So one of the things, your homework was list your top 5 people that you are spending the most time with, based on what Jim Rohn had said about your income will be the average income of your 5 the people you spend the most time with. And I posit that this is true in all areas of your prosperity. and then to evaluate those 5 people with the criteria we discussed last week, and then make a plan for improvement. And I also asked you to list your, the week before we talked about the 7 pillars of prosperity, and I asked you to prioritize them for yourself. So here's what Agnes sent in. I think it's worth sharing with you guys some good content here. What really matters, the order of the 7 pillars, she chose them as mental harmony, physical health, personal growth, meaningful life, abundant wealth, healthy relationships, and then necessary adversity. And if that last one sounds strange to you, go back and watch that broadcast. It's called What Really Matters. And you'll see the reason we all need some adversity in our life. So the other homework was, what is she doing for self-care? And she wrote, my favorite me time is relaxing alone in the garden. No technology of any kind. Just sit and relax while I watch and hear the birds fluttering about. We have lots of bees and some butterflies. Watching nature is fascinating. In the cool of the evening sun is a fantastic time of inspiration in my writings. This is a daily occurrence. One of them was a paused relationship. She's working on that still. And then she listed her 5 people, that her top 5. And I can say I'm humbled and honored. I was one of the 5 she listed. And so she felt she doesn't have to make any changes. She's spending the most time with 5 people who are really empowering her to a higher version of herself. So that's great. Let's talk about this week's lesson. Some of you may have noticed I changed the topic from what we discussed last week, and there's a reason for that. If I don't know how many of you follow me on Twitter, but I was savaged on Twitter this week because I sent out a tweet. I sent out a tweet that said, you're not poor because you don't have money. You're poor if you don't have a dream. And now this is not something I've tweeted for the first time. I guarantee you I've tweeted this or something to its effect 4 or 5 times, I'm sure, over the course of my lifetime in Twitter. In this particular case, several people with big followings who saw the tweet retweeted it and ratioed me or were trolling me or were they would put a reply disputing it. So, and what happened is those people had a lot of followers, so their followers started ratioing me and retweeting me and commenting on me. And it was very predictable. These are not people that follow my work. So let me give, a couple of these tweets. So like one person, there was the usual BS and, a lot of bad language. But these 1 or 2, I think, speak out. One wrote, they copied my tweet and then put, tell me you're a motivational speaker, life coach, huckster, without telling me you're a motivational speaker, life coach, huckster. And then someone else did that and said, tell me you are out of touch with the reality of poverty without telling me you are. And then there was another third one. I cut and pasted some of these because I want to dissect them into what's the mindset behind them and what's the lesson in terms of the principle of prosperity. So just really quick run it through. You don't seem to understand what the term dream house actually means. Dreams are not a balanced diet, nor are they effective in keeping out the elements. I had a wank once and was still poor after it. Why do so many rich people want to give people dreams rather than money? Which I took as a serious question and responded saying, because a lot of times we find that giving money doesn't make the problem go away. We haven't addressed the underlying symptom. And then, of course, they put back a meme with a picture that I was the ugliest man in the world meme kind of thing. Let me pay my internet bills with my dreams. Doesn't work. I do agree aspirations are important, but if you're stressed by debt, live in a damp house, and have access to a limited range of services, it's hard to have them. You need the basics sorted out before you can envision a better future. I don't know if I said this was one of the, tell me you don't understand poverty without telling me you don't understand poverty, and then showing my tweet. I tried to buy medical insurance and food with dreams. Didn't work out. And you can't afford a dream until you have the money to buy food and security. Your tweet wasn't inspirational or motivational. It was another version of poor people just need to stop being poor bullshit. That you have doubled down and revised it speaks volumes about who you are and who you are not. Other people asked if I tested this hypotheses, which of course I have. And that who the TF, do you think you're kidding? All right, so that was the kind of response I got. Now, of course, natural inclination could be, oh, I'm gonna scorch all these people in my replies. They're all trolls. They're all, stupid people. They're ignorant people. But I don't believe that. I believe that a lot of people who sent me those replies were well-meaning people. But I want us to explore, why did that tweet generate that response, and how is it relevant to our lesson this week of how dreams, and say dreams/goals, how important they are to manifest in a life of prosperity. If I break those tweets down, I think I would put them into three categories. Category number one is the virtue signaling people. There are people, that's really how they, I can't say that's how they get their self-esteem, because that isn't real self-esteem. I don't know, it's how they convince themselves they're worthy, I think, is they virtue signal. So they're on Twitter all day, or Facebook or Instagram all day, and they're just looking for people that they can send out tweets about and show that they are superior to those people. And then they hope that everybody who follows them will then see what a virtuous person they are. So somebody posts a picture of, they're eating at In-N-Out Burger or Five Guys, and do you know how many of those cows are killed, and you know what meat eaters do to the planet? And they do that all day long, 5 hours a day, 10 hours a day, right? They're not actually trying to change anything. It's just virtue signaling. So we can ignore those people. That's going to happen. That's the nature of human nature. But there's two other groups in those replies, I think. One is good people who mean well, and they just actually have a misperception of what I'm trying to say with the tweet, or they just misunderstand it. And that's why I'm doing this prosperity ministry. And maybe even for the first reason, because maybe we can reach some of those people. But they just think that, okay, here's this wealthy person trying to use Twitter as a means of keeping less wealthy people down. And that's the exact opposite of my goal with that tweet. My goal with that tweet is to create a spark of prosperity consciousness in somebody's mind, so they rethink this issue. They think about it in a different context. And then the third group of, I think, the replies are people who have unknowingly fallen into victimhood. And they've just, without even realizing it, or maybe they realize it, I don't know, they've become professional victims. And like the virtue signalers, they like to always send out the message, hey, I'm being victimized. These evil, mean, rich people are trying to keep me down. And I'm one of the noble, honorable, spiritual, poor people fighting the forces of evil. And that's another reason why I'm doing this prosperity ministry every week as a labor of love, right? This is not my job. This is not what I do for a living. This is a labor of love for me. Because the people in the third group, what it means is you're holding on to victimhood, and when you do that, you never allow yourself to dream. And because you don't believe in dreams, it won't let you break out. You're basically accepting that all wealthy people are evil and conducting a plot against you to remain broke and victimized. And then the other issue here, we talked about in an earlier show, I don't remember which one, but there is an emotional payoff of being a victim. And this is really important. And I know this from first effect because I had that emotional payoff for more than 30 years, where I was just kept manifesting circumstance after circumstance of adversity, challenge, setbacks, failures, health challenges, relationship failures, business failures. And I could just be, oh, I'm always a day late and a dollar short. Man, if it wasn't for bad luck, I'd have no luck at all. And because I was an emotional cripple at that point of my emotional development, I couldn't accept love. So I looked for sympathy and pity. And I substituted that for love because I was unable to accept love. And it took me, about 4 years of therapy to get to the point where I could allow people to love me because I finally loved myself. So that's a really dangerous spot to be in your life when you're getting that emotional payoff from victimhood, because you're afraid to let it go. And this really happens at a subconscious level. The vast majority of people who are in this scenario, they have no idea that they're in that scenario. So let's talk about dreams and desires and goals and their role in helping you manifest prosperity. And I believe that when you have a desire, it's the force that created you just tapping on the door, saying, hey, can I have a minute with you? Hey, I think you're capable of something more. And it doesn't matter to me what label you use. You could call it God, Shiva, the universe, nature, whatever. You know me. This is not a church. It's not a religion. This is what I call the unchurch, the prosperity unchurch. Just a collection of people who want to talk about the principles of prosperity, circulation, generosity, and free enterprise. And so I believe that desire is good. And that what we've got to do, and if you read my Radical Rebirth book, I talked about divine discontent. And I believe that's what we're dealing with here. When we have a desire, because to remember, the only way we create true prosperity is we solve problems, add value, envision possibilities. If you go to the Wynn Casino tonight and you hit 200 grand on the blackjack wheel, that's not manifesting true prosperity. If you buy a lotto ticket and you win $80 million tonight, or 80 million pounds or euros or whatever, that's not manifesting prosperity. The only true prosperity comes when we add value, solve problems, envision possibilities. And so I think what the universe, the way it's set up, is a prosperous way, because the way we do or have more is to become more. We have to create greater value. We have to solve bigger problems. We have to envision bolder possibilities. So when you have that desire, so that desire could be something simple as Peter up there in Canada decide, I really want a new 10-speed bike. I'd love to go out biking on Sunday mornings and bike down to the farmer's market. That desire to manifest a new 10-speed bike can cause him to create, to use his creative energy to find a way to add value, solve problems, or envision possibilities better. If Dave, or I see Derek Lord, D. Lord, good to see you in your house. So Derek in Chicago, he decides he really wants a Lamborghini. Okay, we could say, hey, Lamborghini's very materialistic. So what? We appreciate materialistic things in the world, just like we can appreciate spiritual things in the world. So if he really has a desire that he would like to add a Lamborghini to his car collection, that desire will cause him to look for ways to solve problems, add value, or envision superior possibilities that would allow him to trade those for the money he would need to buy the Lamborghini. Somebody write this in the chat. To achieve more, you must become more. Give me an amen or a thumbs up. If you guys on the YouTube channel, same thing. Chat me up, say hello in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from, right? To achieve more, you must become more. So I would submit, I would posit that it is the human capacity for dreaming that actually pulls us forward as a society, right? When I was poor, I couldn't do anything to help the world. I wasn't saving the rent. If I looked for, I was accused of all this stuff on Twitter. If people had any idea the millions, I mean, literally millions of dollars that I have donated to charity and other things that aren't even registered charity, but I just feel are like random acts of prosperity, circulating prosperity. That's why I do this show every week, right? They don't understand. I couldn't do that when I was worried, because there were times where I was in line for 2 hours, excuse me, at the payment station to pay my light bill so they didn't cut off the power, right? Do you think I spent those 2 hours thinking how I could save the world and help other people? No, trust me, I was wallowing in victimhood. And when I didn't get the money and they cut off my power and I was running over and begging the neighbors, could I take something from my freezer and keep it in their freezer until I got my power back, and trying to eat up all the food in the fridge before it went spoiled, and wondering how, living in the dark. I mean, I lived like that. So I couldn't help people when I was poor. I'm able to, I could do small things, but I'm saying I can do much greater things. And I'm saying you can do much greater things. And the world can do much greater things when we're all working for a prosperous world, a prosperous universe. And I posit that begins with dreams and desires. Now, we have to find the sweet spot between hedonism and instant gratification mentality, because that's not prosperous, right? If you want a Lambo today, and then tomorrow you want a Ferrari, and Wednesday you want a Bentley Continental GT, and then Thursday you need a Corvette, and you keep thinking every day I need a new car to get me happy, well, that isn't going to cause happiness for you, right? So we've got to find that sweet spot. And that's what I describe in the book as divine discontent. So if we look back at a couple of those tweets where, like, one person had said, okay, dreams are not a balanced diet, nor are they effective in keeping out the elements. They're absolutely correct. That's true. Dreams don't do that. But what happens is, if you're in that situation where you don't have a balanced diet and you don't have safe housing, and I've been in that situation, so don't think if you're new, you're watching this for the first time, like I'm some rich guy talking abstract theories. I was poor for the first 30 years of my life. I lived in abject poverty. I know what that is. Like I said, I know what it is to get evicted. I know what it is to have my lights turned off by the power company. I know what it is not to have money for groceries. I know what it is to roll up 2 rolls of pennies and take it to the gas station and buy $1 worth of gas in the car that I bought at a government auction for $200 that used to be a postal service delivery vehicle. So there was no passenger seat. There was just a slot where the tray for the mail used to be, and the floor was rotting away with rust, and I could stick my feet through it like the Flintstones. Okay. I have lived that life. So I'm speaking to you from that experience. I know that dreams aren't effective when you're in those situations. But what I'm saying is, you have a choice when you're in that situation. Do you fall into victimhood, or do you decide to use that as fuel to find and latch on to that dream to move forward? And that's what I really want to touch on today. One of the other tweets: you need the basics sorted out before you can envision a better future. As someone else wrote, and you can't afford a dream until you have the money to buy food and security. And I recognize the sentiment of you guys who wrote those, but I feel those are really dangerous beliefs. And I mean dangerous. They're dangerous to your health and your future. They're dangerous beliefs that don't serve you, because I suggest that is when you need a vision more than ever. When you're in those lowest spots, that's when you desperately need a dream. So let me see how I'm doing time-wise. Okay, I've got a lot of content this week, so I'm trying to run through this fast because this is really important for you guys. The role of dreams: they motivate you to action, they keep hope alive, and more importantly, they pull you toward a higher version of yourself. Remember what I said, to achieve more, you must become more. So I think this is really tied for you guys who followed the work of Napoleon Hill. He talked about cosmic habit force as the greatest of all laws, the one that controls everything: time, space, energy, matter, and intelligence. And here was his definition of it: nature's method of giving fixation to all habits so that they may carry on automatically once they have been set into motion. And I'm just a huge believer in this. I'm a believer in routines and process. And so for me, the process is: number one, you choose your thoughts. Number two, you create thought patterns. And number three, these crystallize into habits. And you've heard me say it many times in these lessons: you don't really create your future or your destiny, you create your daily habits. And your daily habits are what create your future. So that's why I think that Hill's idea of cosmic habit force, and what I'm talking about, how we link dreams into action. Because if you allow your dreams to motivate you, it keeps your hope alive, and then it pulls you toward a higher version of yourself. If you let your dreams die, and we know billions of people have let their dreams die. Like some of those people ratioing me on Twitter, they just let their dreams die. And now they're jealous or they're bitter. They're anguished, they're hurting, they're in pain. So they're reaching out to inflict pain on others, hurt people, hurt other people. This is how humans respond, unfortunately. Um, and the only way we help those people is to help them change their consciousness. Because, and again, I was there for 30 years. I was so jealous of rich people. So I had this conscious desire to become wealthy because I hated being poor, but I had this subconscious programming that rich people were evil. And I didn't want to be an evil person. So that created a cataclysmic conflict in my personality. And what that manifested as: pettiness, jealousy, bitterness, attacking other people, really low self-esteem, acting out, and ultimately self-sabotage. Because I will tell you, all the major traumas and dramas in my life, I have manifested them in myself, mostly because of self-sabotage behavior. So when you let your dreams die, you stop striving. And because you stop striving, you stop growing. You start to slide backward in society because there's other people moving forward. And then you develop bitterness or victimhood, or you just accept to live a life of mediocrity. And I'm telling you, living a life of mediocrity is a sin against the force that created you. So you've got to keep your dreams alive. Please, I'm begging you, keep your dreams alive. Nourish your dreams. Develop new dreams. The kind of desirable dreams and goals, I believe, for the context of our discussion, is that they're stretch goals, meaning you can't just snap your fingers and get them. It causes you, they're audacious enough, they're bold enough, they're daring, imaginative enough that it will stretch you, but at the same time, it's still believable. You have a conscious and unconscious bias toward, I think I could actually achieve this goal. Because if your goal is, okay, I want to fly to Mars with Elon Musk next week, on a lot of levels, you're going to know that isn't really attainable. And so you're not going to get the desired benefit from that. The other part of goals is they need to be compelling enough to pull you forward. You want sticky goals. You want goals that pull you towards them. And when people give up their dreams, it slowly happens that then the goals they set are so meaningless, bring so little joy and value to their life that they really become non-existent. So these are the people whose goal is, Monday, Monday, I hate Mondays. And then Wednesday is hump day. And then thank God it's Friday. And their whole goal is just keep their head below the cubicle until Friday at 4 or 5 o'clock, when they can clock out, buy a 12-pack of beer and binge on Netflix all weekend long, and their life of quiet desperation. They've given up on their dreams. You don't let that happen to you. Now, it's not about being delusional or these people who think you watch The Secret and then your Lambo pulls up in your driveway magically. What I'm talking about, what Hill is talking about, is the imaging power of programming your subconscious mind. We know the subconscious mind is what drives our daily actions, and our daily actions are what define our future. So that's how we want to feed and nourish that. Let me just catch up with the chat. Oh, I see Jedi Jonak has joined the chat. Rena, good to see you here. It's funny you mentioned Bezos. Art and I have been talking about Bezos and Branson and these space flights offline. I actually have it coming up a little. I want to talk about that a minute in the objective. Yes, Scott, the subby makes all the decisions. All right, so let me see where, because I wanted to see where did I put that stuff with Bezos and Branson, because I actually wanted to, I tried to copy something I saw in a column. I'll give you another example that just comes to mind. I got a meme that Wes Linden in the UK sent me. It was a picture of John Glenn, I think, and then a picture of the Blue Origin rocket going up the other day. And so the meme was, my father got to watch John Glenn be the first in space, and I got to watch the guy who killed bookstores fly up to the atmosphere in a giant penis, and the social media was just filled with that stuff about Elon, Branson, Bezos. And I think that exactly is what you see when I felt those, that number 2 and number 3, what I told you, the reasons I felt I was being ratioed on Twitter, and that whole Twitter mob that was going after me, a bunch of those, I would say 2 and 3, their same exact principles would apply to what's going on with Branson and Elon and Bezos and the space race. So it's beliefs that don't serve you. They either cause you to give up on their dreams or cause you to sink into victimhood. So what we want to happen is we want to create this desire, this dream, something that compels us to take the initial steps toward it. So it's a goal that, again, it's compelling enough to pull us to it. Then that belief that you think you can get to that goal expands the window through which that you see the world. Then, so you develop a bigger dream, a bigger vision. And this goes in every area of your life, from the most important, who you will marry, what kind of college you will go to or your children will go to the most minor things. Example, I'm coaching a guy on my team, my softball team, wanted some batting practice, some tips on how to bat better. So we're going to the cage and he said, I just want to bat 270 or 300, which is, in baseball, if you can bat 300, that's a really good thing. So he says, I just want to bat 300. I don't have to hit home runs. Just show me how I can bat 300. And I told him, listen, I'm not going to spend my time with you if this is your only goal is to bat 300. Because 300 is a good goal in baseball, but it's a horrible goal in softball. He plays in the D division. So I'm telling him, in the D division, a guy or gal who hits the ball with velocity should bat 600. So if I can't convince you that you have the ability to bat 600 in your league, then I don't want to waste your time or my time. Right? That's an example of that, how the window, the size of the window that you see the world through. So when you develop that bigger vision, now again, you change and modify your daily habits to take you closer toward that vision. And then finally, this becomes a virtuous cycle of development. All right, so let me take up the offering, and then I want to give you your assignments and then tell you what we're going to do next week. So Paula, if you put up the website again, if you want to support this show, if you want to support this ministry of prosperity and be in the prosperity army, I need you to do 2 things. Number 1, go to randygage.com/go and support the show, support the work. And it doesn't matter if you can only send $1 or $5, I celebrate every one of those offerings every week, because just means you're okay. You haven't got a lot of money yet, but you want to see you want to start the circulation, and you want to see the message grow. So $1, $2, whatever it is, please support it. And then the second thing is to share the show. Before we go live every Saturday, if you call up some friends, text them, get some watch parties going, you could create some prosperity masterminds with people that you watch the show together. And then if you're watching on the YouTube channel, please like and share the video. And if you're listening on the podcast, please rate the podcast and send a link to your friends. Okay, let me give you your assignments for this week. 3 of them. And somebody type these in the chat, please. Number 1, set a mini dream/goal you can accomplish by next lesson. Set a mini dream goal that you can accomplish by next lesson. Because we're going to be checking in. You'll be turning in your homework next week. So be ready. Number 2, set a bold but believable goal that will pull you toward it. And número 3, set a goal, dream you can't achieve as the person you are right now. A goal that you can't achieve as the person you are now. And that, to me, guys, this is the magical, people talk about, we were talking about Napoleon Hill earlier, and his Think and Grow Rich. He talks about the secret of creating wealth, which is in every chapter. And he says, just read the book and you will uncover. Okay, who's that holding it up? Good to see. He's got it right there. Scott McAvoy. Good to see. Good to see. He says, hey, if you'll find it in every chapter. And people look for that mystery. I feel like the mystery of that tweet that started that whole Twitter storm was because people don't understand this mystery of, to have more, you must become more. And you need that desire to be the spark plug, to be the flicker of the flame, to be the thing that starts the whole process rolling. You've got to have those dreams. You've got to have a vision of, you've got to be able to look at the horizon and raise your eyes above the horizon. And that's what Elon Musk is doing when he says we need to be a multi-planetary species and we need to have a base on Mars one day. He's helping us raise our vision above the horizon, above our day-to-day things. So I get it when you're short on money for groceries, you're wondering where you're going to get the rent. You say, I don't have time to devote to dreams right now. That's exactly when you need to devote that time to dreams. One quick note for those of you who are in direct selling only, for you guys who are in direct selling, I have a special beta program I'm running. Go to leveragesales.com/beta and check that out. Somebody, if you would, type that in the comments, leveragesales.com/beta. If you're in direct selling, I want you to check out that program. Next week, the topic is going to be a delightful one, because the topic for next week is giving and receiving. And this is one of those where we're going to really explore first principles of prosperity. So that's it for this week. Thanks everybody for watching. Remember, share the show, tell your friends. Let's take this prosperity army and circulate the abundance around the world. Love you guys. Peace.